Well, if you want to understand what a sales cycle is and how that can impact your business, then you're going to want to stick around for this specific video.
Go get it.
How's it going, y'all? This is Femi here, and I'm amped because when I think about sales and understanding sales cycles, this can be the difference between you having money in the bank and not, right? So knowing what a sales cycle really is and how it can impact your brand or business really makes a huge difference. So let's kind of get into this really quickly, but I'm going to show you the fundamentals that you need to be aware of. When we talk about sales, there are so many different components to consider. You got to think about the first aspect of an individual becoming a lead, that person then becoming a prospective buyer, and then from them becoming a prospective qualified buyer into a paying customer or client. Now, the reality is most people, I think, might wish that if you have a prospect that is interested in what you do, they automatically buy within like the first 30 days, or they might buy immediately right after they hear about your awesome offer or business. Now, the reality is things don't really turn out that way. If you want to understand what that might look like, you got to be mindful that there are certain markers that can impact your business and might impact your sales experience when you're growing your brand, okay? First thing, when you are looking at your sales cycle, you have to consider what is the timeline for this person to become a lead, right? That's the first step. So they're going to become a lead, from a lead to a prospect. And then from that lead to a prospect, then becoming a client, okay? Now, traditionally, depending on what you're doing for prospecting and what type of business model you run, there's usually like a 60 to 90 day window, right? So that means that person might have a touch point with you, they become a lead. You're taking that time to qualify them to determine if they're a fit, and you realize they're a prospect. Once you realize they're a prospect, you then convert them into becoming a client and a paying customer. Now, here is the thing you need to actually think about. In 60 to 90 days, okay, do you have the cash flow to wait before that person becomes a paying client and customer? Most people end up losing track of this. They think, okay, I'm going to talk to a bunch of people and then automatically I'm going to have money. But if you don't have enough cash flow before that person gives you more money, you could be in a situation. So you need to make sure to resolve that. There's a few other strategies, and I'm going to share with you what you need to do to overcome your cash flow situations, especially when you're building out an understanding of your sales cycle. Okay. Next, do you have supporting material that they can go through in that time before they actually become a client or customer? So these are two key factors, and I'm going to outline what you need to do, especially from the cash flow situation when you're looking at your sales cycle, and what you need to do from supporting documents to supporting materials while you're waiting for them to become a paying customer or client. So let's get into cash flow, and I'm going to explain what you need to think about specifically. So let's say you have that 60 to 90 day window, okay? And you're struggling with cash flow. What most people don't really realize is if you are consistently, daily, weekly, monthly, prospecting, you will always have people in your pipeline. As people come into your pipeline, there'll be different touch points that these people become customers and paying clients, right? So you have to think of it like this. You don't want to wait from day 0 to day 60 and do absolutely nothing in that window of time to make sure that you're generating enough cash flow and generating enough prospective buyers in that window of time. So here's what you got to think of. If you're struggling with cash flow, you need to make sure that you're making enough offers to prospective buyers every single day, every single week, every single month, okay? Why does this matter? If the average person that you're looking to have a customer takes 60 to 90 days to become a paying client, you can continually interact with new people or some of the older people and reactivate them so that you solve your cash flow situation. So this is gonna be the first objective I want you to think of. If you're trying to figure out your sales cycle and you realize it takes 90 days for someone completely cold to become a paying customer, it could be longer depending on what you're selling. You have to make sure that every day, every week, every month, you're making some sort of offer so that you can generate more revenue for your brand and your business. So that's gonna be the first thing to tackle any cash flow situation if you are trying to figure out your actual sales cycle. So that's gonna be the first step, okay? Now, let's say you tackle that, okay? And like I said, the average sales cycle is 60 to 90 days from someone becoming a prospective buyer to a paying customer. Keep that in mind. But let's go a little bit deeper. Let's say in that timeline, you're trying to figure out what to really do with this individual. I'm a big believer that if you have somebody who's a lead, complete cold has no idea who you are, doesn't really know how you can help them, in that timeline, if you produce information and content of very high value, they'll become a paying client, okay? Why does this matter? A little while ago, I talked about the value of something very special, and I'm gonna remind you of what that is again today. Know, like, trust, right? You want to create more reasons for someone to know you, for them to like you, for them to trust you, so that that window of time, usually being, let's say, that 90-day cycle, let's say it is 90 days, you can whittle that down by bridging the gap, by providing supporting material, supporting content, supporting resources that can help them where they're at and make them understand that you are the go-to source to solve their pain point or their challenge or whatever they're going through. So these are two huge things that you can use to navigate your sales cycle in growing your brand and your business. It doesn't matter what it is you're selling, right? Like, I think, like, at the end of the day, every brand, every business needs to be aware during their sales cycle, whether it takes you 90 days or 6 months, or it might take you a year or 2 years or even 30 days to get a customer, you need to be aware of your cash flow during that time, because they may not buy right away, and you need to be aware that you can produce supporting documents, supporting material to build know, like, trust, and have that cycle come down a little bit more, which will benefit your business and benefit your brand, and definitely in the end help you generate more sales. Okay, so hope this video has some really great value for you. If you want to understand more, feel free to comment, post questions. I'm here to help, and I will see you again soon. Okay, ciao.